Put him in the common clutch. I'll make him on the cream of the crop. Nobody does it better. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there will be. Acknowledge me.
27 days. What did you do in 27 days?
What the talking about?
Talk about Jey Uso has only been 27 days as the IC champion, and that is it. It's a tough break. I don't know. 27 days, people are bitter.
At least he lasted longer than Santino Marella in the Royal Rumble.
That is true. I saw it online. People, they're upset. 27 days wasn't enough, giving Braun making him a two-time IC champion, Intercontinental champion. Thoughts on that? I mean, was it too short? 27 days? I mean, we can't do another 666 days like Gunther, right?
Is it short? Yes. Is it necessary? Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need that for the build-up of this Bloodline storyline. I think now Jey has a reason. He looked credible as champion with Roman's. Like, look what I did without you, and look what I did without the Bloodline, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, these guys kind of stepped on, my shine. They helped me lose the title, and now the enemy of my enemy is now my friend. So now he has a reason to be like, all right, Roman, let's do this. Jimmy, let's do this. Because, I mean, he was literally feuding with both of them, prior to WrestleMania and at WrestleMania. And now we need a fourth man. Is it going to be Mabel? Meltzer? Is it going to be Mabel?
I was just looking it up while you're saying that because Sami Zayn was 118 days. So, I mean, not 600 days, but he had it for a little bit longer. But his first singles title, only 27 days. But I think it is needed. It's definitely needed for this whole Bloodline feud. You got to take it off him, build this up. And I think for him to get it back, if he's still hot like he is now, Mania, to win it back, or is that too late? It's months away, but
I think we need to see where we go because I think everybody's been waiting for the build-up for this, what's that cage match that we're supposed to be like dying for?
War
right
Games.
War Games. Like I think everybody's been looking past WrestleMania, looking forward to like once we saw the Tongans and once we saw Jacob, it's like, ooh, we're gonna have Bloodline versus Bloodline at War Games. I think that's what everybody's focused on.
Yeah.
Where they go from there after the fact. I really don't care. I mean, where's The Rock going to fit in with this? Are we going to get more members of either the Tongans?
There's more Samoans out there. There's lots of Bloodline.
That's a big-ass family. Like, dude, I thought Italians had huge families. Oh, these Samoans, bro. You guys do some serious you have a lot of kids.
I mean, I was just thinking about it today. I messaged our friends. I was like, The Rock only came back at Bad Blood, but he didn't say anything, and we still haven't heard from him. It's been over 2 weeks now, and it's like, what?
I know. We got that one little social media video that he did after the fact. What did you think of that? I mean, I know we kind of talked about that, but what do you think of, like...
It makes you want to watch, right? Like, you're glued to your set. Like, he didn't say anything, but now I got to go to social media to see what he said. I mean, I get it. It's cool doing these things online, like the whole Cody with Owens, the whole backstage fight. Where, So I dig it. It kind of puts it into our reality, and, I don't know. I just wanted more from The Rock. I mean, to continue this whole thing, to me, I'm like, is he teasing that he's going to be at War Games? Is he just going to make another appearance? Is he going to be another man in that match?
We don't know where he stands, and he literally told us nothing, and then they didn't, continue on with it. And that, to me, is what the frustrating thing is.
Yep.
We don't... You gave us nothing. It was cool to see him at the end of the pay-per-view, but it's like, okay, now what? Because... Oh, look, The Rock came back, and then we don't mention it for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
But the Bloodline has dominated the everything for the past few years, ever since COVID till now. And, I even just when you think they can't do any more, they do more. They do even more, and there's more ways to keep this going. We saw Roman acknowledge Solo on SmackDown to a certain extent where he didn't accept it or whatever, but... this is, we got Crown Jewel in 2 weeks. And then we got from that straight to War Games. Yep. So they got to start building their teams, right? We got a few weeks left till that. So, I'm digging it. It's one of the biggest storylines on both of the shows, right? You want to see what's going on.
Is there anybody that you are not happy with in this storyline, the way it's been going right now?
I think out of everybody, just in the Bloodline, I think I feel bad for the Gorillas of Destiny. Both of these guys... They were a hell of a tag team outside WWE. I think they had more buzz about them, if you will. When they're in the WWE, I think as soon as you got Fatu
Jacob.
As soon as you got him, he kind of like overshadowed everybody. He overshadowed them. He overshadowed Solo, and everybody just keeps looking at Jacob as the next like big heel for the Bloodline. Yes. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's a great thing, right? Like, you have somebody to look forward to of developing more. But I feel bad for them because I feel like they're a really good tag team. I don't think they really have got to show all that just yet. Right now, they're just like the henchmen in this whole group, and
yeah. And you know, it's
they're
funny
having good matches, but
when you say that, like. The whole Jacob Fatu thing, he kind of outshined that whole main event on Raw to me because when he was almost like face to face with Braun Breaker, I'm like, oh, here we go. Like I was like, you know what? I don't care what happens. I want to see these two go at it. Yeah. I think that could be an incredible program.
No, for sure.
And they kind of like teased it for a second, and then next thing you know, Jacob turned on poor Jey Uso, man. Yeah. 27 days. Finally, something that lasted shorter than my marriage.
Oh my God! But all in all, it's been a pretty good time for watching this whole Bloodline because I mean, you definitely have matches built out till Mania with all these guys. Who knows what's going to happen? Whether it's The Rock's going to even have time for a match at WrestleMania, what you're going to be doing with Roman, Jacob, everybody in this group. So I think the next few months is going to still be exciting.
Do we need a Rock at WrestleMania?
I don't think so. I don't know if he has time anymore. I know he wants to.
That's not the question. Do we need him though?
Oh no, I know. 2 nights, night 1 again. He's still got that. He still has that outside drawing power to where people know him from other stuff, True. Moana, Disney, other side projects or whatever. But he's still a celebrity outside of WWE, and he's still probably one of the he's a big name everybody knows. So having him there. It helps him, and I think it helps WWE at the same time. But do we need him? We need him in a solo match. We don't need him in a tag match, even though that really helped him last one. But
it definitely helped make him look strong because he could tag out. He didn't have to go in for long stints. He kind of hid the negatives because you didn't know if he was going to gas out after a couple of minutes. I mean, it was perfect. I wouldn't mind seeing him in another tag. I don't want to see him at Mania. If they're going to have him in a solo match, say with a Cody Rhodes or him versus a Roman, I don't think it needs to be at Mania. That's something that you could do at maybe the Rumble, maybe even SummerSlam. If he's not available for WrestleMania, why not SummerSlam?
Sure. Yeah, but I mean, the Bloodline building to War Games and beyond, I think it's been a really good thing. But, the next few weeks are going to be crazy. This is kind of a down week. We got Halloween next, and then we got Presidential Mania. I think the biggest question is, Cooter, who are you voting for?
What the are you doing? You're just setting me up to fail, Sal. You see this
It's it's political season. We got 2 weeks left till Presidential Mania, guys. Whoever you're voting for, rock the vote, right? So we got politics showing up just in time for this election. So, we mentioned on episode 258, we had Hogan at the RNC convention saying he's, all about Trump, going for Trump on Trump's team, whatever. Now we have recently the Undertaker and Kane, the Brothers of Destruction, who have said on his podcast that they're supporting Donald Trump on theirs. And I don't know which one was before or after, but even Batista at the time has a little video we'll talk about in a minute. But what did you think of that? What do you think about pro wrestlers now, I guess, putting out who they want to vote for?
That's not the first time we've seen this. I want to say the last presidential election cycle, we had The Rock. I think he supported Biden and Kamala Harris. It's not uncommon. I mean, I think it's very strange because typically, and I think I said this last time, the Democrats have been very, very great at using, the celebrities, to get the, we've seen it this year too. I mean, Taylor Swift, amongst other people.
Everybody. It's like whoever you like, that's how they're going to get the vote, right? Because if they say they do it, do it. I don't know. We're going to do it.
And finally, I think the Republicans are catching up and, a lot of wrestlers this time around.
That's it. I think so. Trump made his way around. He's making his way around the podcast world, and so he was just on Undertaker's podcast too. And I listened to the whole thing. It was like an hour or so. It wasn't too no like gotcha or anything like that. It was just a regular conversation. But the one thing that he did say, you mentioned The Rock. The Rock, he did say The Rock called him after his assassination attempt, saying that he called him to ask how he was because he said he didn't think The Rock liked him.
Say he got the number from Dana White.
Yeah,
He said, I want to call this guy, and he got his number.
Don't you wish you had that power? Hey, what's his number? All
Hey,
right,
Dana,
call him.
give me Trump's number. Like, what are we serious right now? That's crazy. I want to say, like, politics aside, I actually do enjoy listening to certain Trump interviews when it's not political.
Yeah.
When he's just having conversations with random people until it gets political, and then you're kind of stuck in the realm of partisanship and all that. But great conversation he had with Undertaker, just talking about him at WrestleMania, and
He turned the tables a little bit, interviewing Taker for a minute.
yeah, he was. I think Undertaker seemed a little uncomfortable. It's like, I'm supposed to be interviewing you, and here he is asking all these questions.
Oh, yeah. And, to turn the table a little bit, too, you have Batista. On the other hand, he did a skit on Trump on Jimmy Kimmel's show. And I don't know which one was first or not, but they all happened.
I want to say
the
the
same
Kimmel
week.
skit was first.
Okay, so
Yes.
I was like, because I feel like they happened the same week or something. So, but what do you think about that? I mean, like I said, we're hearing guys pick who they want to vote for, right? I feel like it's coming more common because a lot of these celebrities probably would stay away on that because then you lose your fan base in a way, right? It's certain people you might turn off or whatever, but what do you think about Batista?
It's nothing against him. It's more, I haven't enjoyed late night television in probably 20 years. I think a lot of the people since, I used to love Leno. I used to love Conan. I'm not a Fallon guy. I'm really not a Jimmy Kimmel. I haven't found Jimmy Kimmel funny since The Man Show.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I just think, in general, late night television has beat the political comedy to death.
Yeah.
And
nobody's original anymore with some of the stuff.
It's been the same thing week in and week. And I think we've all gone through this probably the last, probably 3 election cycles.
Yep.
It's been crazy. And Batista, I didn't really find it funny. Like, they tried. Like, good comedy and bad comedy comes from the same place. Like, you're trying. Some people I'm sure found it hilarious. To me, we're just beating a dead horse, Well,
what's funny is like everybody's listening to us right now because I'm trying to try new things out, Cooter. I'm old. I'm trying to get on this TikTok live over here while we're talking. So it's a little caveat if you guys follow us on TikTok. But I'm like, all of a sudden it's popping up at the bottom to learn more about the U.S. elections. I'm like, it's like you say one thing and it's like, okay, for more information. Jesus. It's crazy. We're being taken over here. But all in all, like I said, people are starting to come out who they want to vote for. It's a big thing. We got presidential mania happening in just 2 weeks.
How do you think Batista looked?
He's gotten skinny, man. Like, he's lost a lot of weight. I don't know if that's...
No, this is what happens when you get old and you can't take steroids anymore.
I didn't know,
and you forgot to put the men's hair now color in your beard. Like, dude, it's...
He got really skinny, really... Like, he was like a gorilla. He was like really big. And then now he's like a little skinny guy. And I'm like... You deflated a lot. What happened? Something happened with that. So I don't know. But no, to keep going on what's happening, because there's a lot of things going on. I thought was really cool. NXT is going to be taking place next week, November 6th, or in 2 weeks, at the 2300 Arena, the formerly ECW Arena in Philadelphia. This is the place for NXT, right? Like a small venue. I think that's a lot of people are criticizing AEW for, is that they keep putting in these big arenas, but they're not filling them. So why don't they just try small arenas like this? And what do you think of NXT going there? I love
this. I mean, Monday Night Raw started in the Manhattan Center and the Poughkeepsie Civic Center.
Yeah.
And like these small, intimate arenas with these fans that are really going to enjoy watching this product. I mean, especially in the ECW arena. First off, it's an iconic building, and I love these small arenas. I loved it for a little while. They did use center stage for a little bit, when they got outside of Full Sail. And Full Sail had a great little arena too.
Even like the new arena that they redone down there too. It's like their own mini arena for their kind of show, because they're not trying to fill up huge arenas. Like, they're keeping it small, intimate kind of a show. But it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I hope.
You ever been in that building?
I've never been there, man. Believe it or not, I went to school in Philadelphia for 3 years, and I've never gone to, because when I went to school, it was the time, I think, the original ECW was just kind of done, and this is kind of the same time where WWE bought them over. So like they weren't doing that arena anymore. It was kind of like the ECW WWE version, if you will.
You're like the worst mark ever. You're
I got
in
there
the city
I
and you
know.
never went to the building.
And even at that time, I kind of like fell away from wrestling because I didn't have it on my cable at school because they didn't have like that was the time where they went to TNN or what was it TB or
Yeah, it was TNN before
and
it
I was
became
like,
Spike TV.
It was like the weirdest channel at the time. I was like, of course they don't have it. So I like as soon as I went to college, man, I started falling out of love with wrestling because I couldn't watch it anymore. And then long story short, I never been to the arena, so I have to go one day though.
Yeah,
I gotta go there. But no, have you been watching any of NXT though too? Because they're on the CW network now. They had a few good shows. People are blaming some ratings for the last show because I mean the World Series is going on in a week, so they had a lot of playoff games.
Oh, what we're gonna give
Dave Meltzer? Or?
No, we're gonna give NXT the same excuses that AEW's been using for the last 5 years.
Yep, exactly. No, but it's.
I want to check it out. I haven't seen it on CW yet. I actually really did stop watching once they went from the gold brand to the rainbow
Vince
brand.
killed it, yeah. Or Vince tried making it a mini.
It
Raw,
turned me
SmackDown.
off because at that time, I want to say they really rated the talent roster and moved everybody up to the main roster, and I felt like there was nobody that I could really connect with.
Yeah.
And then once they did the rebrand, I was like, "What the are we doing?" Like So I'm actually looking forward to this. I want to check this out. I want to see how they look on a different network.
Sure.
Because they've been trying different things even now on USA for when Raw moves to Netflix.
Yeah.
They've filmed everything differently. They got some cool things going on. I want to see how it looks.
No, for sure. It's cool. I mean, I've been trying to get back into the NXT too, to where I'm trying to learn everybody down there because they've really been using the talent a lot better than they have been the past few years. So under this new branding, I'm seeing definitely the creative shape a little bit better than what it was. So I'm really hopeful that, especially, I feel like maybe HBK might have better conversations with Triple H, and there's no McMahon involvement in it. I don't know, but it's definitely turning out a lot better than what it was.
Do you like what he's doing as GM better than Regal? Do you think he has the same star power that Regal had to work with?
I love HBK, but I think the problem with him is he's got like the old man thing going on now. To like, he's kind of doing it just to kind of keep busy. But I don't know. I think Regal at the time was a lot. I don't know, not more fun to watch, but HBK is doing little things here and there, and
I think he's a little more camera friendly too.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the better term of using it. A little more camera friendly. But no, I mean,
look at me being politically correct for a change.
It's Shawn Michaels, so it's like you gotta love it. So, but I don't want to go through the match, but it's this weekend is NXT Halloween Havoc 2 happening on Sunday. A lot of matches happening on, but I think the biggest thing to talk about is we could have a rumored Undertaker appearance. I mean, to bring the Dead Man back out on Halloween Havoc, and I was just thinking about this the other day. I'm like, why don't they just do this show as a regular main roster pay-per-view? Because like it's Halloween this time, and they don't need to do.
I feel like
whatever else.
They've done a lot with the WCW pay-per-view names with NXT.
Yeah.
But they even took some of their old IP, like In Your House. They were using it for the NXT pay-per-views for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, we're seeing a lot more WCW stuff. I mean, hell, War Games was a WCW creation. So that's kind of cool. That started in NXT and then finally made its way up to the main roster. I mean, Halloween Havoc used to be their biggest pay-per-view of the year, they said.
Yeah. And it's like taking those ideas and keeping them alive is good because it's like, it's not like the LWO right now on the main roster. You're taking nostalgic names that people know and grew up with and keeping them alive, if you will, instead of having to rethink it over again. Like it's Halloween, use Halloween Havoc. We don't need to rethink it. Just keep using it, right? It's still it has a lineage, so keep, bring it back. So
you want to see how bad that is? Watch this, Credo. Name me 4 people from the LWO.
We got Mysterio.
No, that doesn't count. All right, I'll give you that one.
There was another Mysterio at one point too, so there's 2 Mysterios. So
okay. All right. I think you see my point. I feel like they haven't done anything to really elevate these guys outside of that one young guy that I can't even remember his name, and he's great.
Yeah.
His name? I feel horrible.
Well, we got the Dragon on there.
Yeah, Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee,
that's one. Selena Vega.
He definitely, I guess he grouped all the groups together, but, I guess LWO, I don't know. I'm just thinking
what's next? Are we going to call them Los Boricuas or something like that?
That would have,
Another throwback?
Another throwback. I mean, it's about the throwbacks, I think. That's what they really need to keep doing every week. But
Speaking of throwbacks,
yeah,
let's talk about who made their debut this week.
Oh, you're ready for the Motor City Machine Guns, baby. it's like we just debuted on the main roster. They're in their 40s. I think that's what they're. I think if they're 41, 42, or
they're up there, and they're TNA originals, and they're great. But I see them wanting to bolster up the tag division.
Yeah,
I get it, but I feel like a lot of their tag teams, every tag team on that roster, even DIY's up there.
Yeah,
like that tag team division is old.
Yeah,
I mean, the New Day, old.
Yeah.
We're about to celebrate their 10-year anniversary as a team,
and
right?
Some people never even lasted that long in the 80s or 90s, and they're on the 10 years.
I mean, just the list goes on. I mean, quite honestly, I get what you're doing, but I think, I mean, it's weird when I feel like your youngest tag team might be like AOP.
Yeah.
Even the War Raiders are kind of old at this point. Like, they've been around a long time.
Vince killed it. He had to make them the Vikings, and then they sit out a few years, and now it's like, okay, let's fix it. And it's like, with a Kane now, man, they're up there, man. They're not spring chickens.
Vikings
right?
Dressed up in their biker jackets, and that's going to work this time around. I don't know, man. Like, I feel bad, but
too little, too late. Maybe it's like, and that's the thing is like. Older marks know who these guys are. They've seen them, like you said, for 2 decades on the independent circuit. But at one point, I thought one guy was even retired for, I forget how many years, Chris Sabin. I thought he was like out for a few years.
He was.
Yeah, and then he came back, and I'm like, oh, they came back. And weren't they? I don't know if they even went to AEW at the very beginning, too.
This isn't their first stint in WWE either, because I feel like they were in one of those Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics.
Oh,
I think they got kicked out of the first round in 1 year.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But it's a debut in your 40s, and it's like, man. I granted, they're still in shape. They're still doing their thing, but at the same time, it's like
we're in our 40s and we're finally only doing video.
I know.
I don't think we should really talk right now.
That's true. I mean. All right. So, all right. I mean, one of the things, though, Motor City Machine Guns, we'll see what they do. But, yeah, it's good to see, though, them bring a name in and put them on the main roster. Like, that's what's been missing, too, for the past few years, to where it's like, oh, we got the other guy from the other show. Well, let's put him in NXT. We'll change his name, and then he's got to go through this whole development. Now, by the time he gets to the main show, it's like, all right, we forgot about him already. So
yeah,
it's nice to see a talent go from wherever, come over here as themselves or whatever, and just debut on the show, and that's where the impact's going to be with them. So. I know we talked about it a few shows ago. Crown Jewel's coming up on November 2nd.
Okay.
It's just, we talked about Cody and Gunther, Nia and
My
Liv.
main man Gunther, soon to be the Crown Jewel champion, baby.
That's a huge belt too, by the way. I wish they would point out like how much it cost, like they used to do with the $1 million belt. Like they brought it to a jeweler and saw how it cost like thousands or whatever, millions of dollars.
It's going to cover up his whole midsection all the way down to his knees.
I want to. I don't know why they're doing the belt, but anyway.
It looks like body armor.
I know. It's huge, man. You can put it on your back like a shell, pretty much. But I think they just added this week, too. You got Rollins will face a Reed at Crown Jewel. What do you think about this? Because I feel like every time we see Reed, it's just him backstage beating up people, going through cars.
No. See, I hated this week's Raw.
Yeah?
I couldn't stand that. Because you did that for weeks and weeks and weeks with Braun Strowman, right?
Yeah.
And it worked when you had two monsters who were just like, I remember they were opening up Raw that one week with Mysterio and Liv coming in the car, and they get in and they start walking in the arena, and then you just see Strowman and Bronson Reed beating the out of each other.
Yeah,
cool. It doesn't work when it's Seth Rollins. It's really like the way they've positioned his character as this. Whatever the hell he is now. Is he still the architect? What is he now?
I thought he was injured, and then he was out for a while. Now he's fine, I guess.
Yeah, and they used Bronson. Like, they used Seth Rollins to give Braun Strowman, like, the win in that Monsters versus Monster Last Man Standing match. I don't feel like I've seen Braun since. Yep. It's like the guy who lost the match is now randomly 3 or 4 times getting in a backstage fight with Seth freaking Rollins, and it's mind-boggling because it's like, okay, we've seen this before, and I think if you spread it out and do it sporadically, it's okay. But at the same time, it's like you just got finished doing this with the same fucking guy.
Yep.
What the are we doing, Credo?
No, I know, man, and it's I'm not a fan of Reed. I think he's probably going to be made on the list, but I'm not a fan of his because they keep building him up as a monster, and he's not a monster. He's not that big. They love his accent.
You about to body shame him, Credo?
Body shame?
You about to body shame him?
There's leather going on the inside of his legs. That's all I'm gonna say. Wear pants, man. Just wear pants. It's okay.
Maybe we should give him Nia Jax's old mud flaps.
I think we can market it for him and see what happens. But speaking of Nia Jax, though, Nia Jax is going to go against Liv Morgan though too at this pay-per-view. The one thing I don't care about the match or who's going to win it, but do you think it's time for the cash-in yet, or no? Are we going to still hold on to this cash-in?
Tiffy time?
Yeah, I mean it's something big to pull at this kind of event to where they only do a few matches, right? It's not like this big long drawn AEW Wrestle Dream card, like where it has 50 matches on it. It's like a good 5 matches or so, and
they've done a great job with building this little thing because we know, they're on separate rosters.
Yeah,
and they've been kind of going to each other's shows, and it's been kind of cool. But hey, you got was it Raquel Gonzalez is her name?
That's it.
Okay,
the back flex. I can't do it,
dude. That girl is huge. But like you have a heater who could maybe help Liv get the win and maybe beat the crap out of Nia enough for Tiffy to cash in on Nia.
Yeah.
Because who does she cash in on? I mean, I guess technically she can cash in on either one.
Yep.
So whoever gets their ass kicked that is the most vulnerable, this would be a great time. But see, here's the other thing. Do you do that in Saudi Arabia when like...
Oh, I know, yeah.
It's weird. I don't know if they can get away with that there. I mean, I think they should go for it. And are they going to be like forced to be like covered head to toe?
Yeah, that's it. That's like the rule. They have to cover their skin. Only their hands and face or whatever can show.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, I think it's a great idea. If it ever was the time to do it, it should be there, don't you think?
I always thought when Vince was still running it that he would do some BS thing to where, their wardrobe malfunction in sort of. Do you think he would get killed? I think he'd probably get killed. Like if you know what I mean. Like if something.
What
happened?
if at one point your knocker split the leather open?
I'm saying that's what I always thought that from the beginning.
Good shit.
And then I'm like, well, they're probably gonna get killed after that because if that, I don't know what the rules are over there. Like, can they get killed? Can they cut their head off?
I think it's a beheading. If like
keep it closed.
If you have a Janet
girls.
Jackson nip slip, I mean.
Try to be risque. That would be like the biggest thing ever over there in their world, and like they would probably never be welcome back. So no, but I think I would like to see a cash in because it would be something different for this pay-per-view. Because the championships aren't on the line; it's just to get the crown jewel. Which that's cool enough, but I don't know. I feel this whole feud, as good as it's kind of been for Tiffy time, is that it's not. I think it kind of killed her reaction a little bit. She was getting some big pops. Like a lot of people really like cheering for her, and I feel that's kind of like stunted it a little bit. But it's helping her grow in this. I'm just like, I don't know. I think just put it on her right now.
I agree with you because I call this the Samoa Joe problem.
Yeah,
it's like for years and years and years they should have put that world title on him, and then by the time they finally did it, nobody cared.
Yeah, I know.
And it's just like you took all the steam out of
what
could have been really great. I agree with you, dude. Yeah.
No, so I have to bring up. We have Brock Lesnar staring at us right now in the back.
I miss Brock Lesnar, dude. I'm sorry. Do you miss Brock Lesnar?
I miss Brock Lesnar. I miss the Beast incarnate.
Yeah, because you know what's weird? In the back of my mind, I don't see anybody who would want to think that, watching Vince McMahon take a on a girl is a reason that's going to make Brock Lesnar sign a new contract. Like, I'm sorry, that really doesn't compute for me. I'm just saying.
Oh, man. I wish we could have just know. I just want him back. I do want him back.
Because I think that, especially with some of the storylines that we got going on now, he fits right in, don't you think?
No, and they could use him for, like, everything coming up, like whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's War Games, Survivor Series, anything coming up. But he hasn't been on television since the SummerSlam 2023, so it's over a year now. But what's interesting is that his name, he's recently been trending too. Been referenced multiple times by Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. So fans are kind of buzzing about whether there's hints at a signal at a possible return.
Well, I think I remember seeing somewhere too that like they took him off the alumni page and put him on the active thing.
He's on a free agent one right now, I think.
Okay.
So he's on it, but he's not to any brand. And there's like 3 free agents too. I'll bring that up and kind of like it's kind of weird, but no, yeah, he's on there. So
my thought process for this, we were talking about War Games earlier, because it could be a 4-on-4 or maybe it could be a 5-on-5, and this could be made by Paul Heyman or for Paul Heyman, because if we need a 5th guy, and We need somebody who wants
Oh,
to
man, that'd be
avenge what Solo did, to Paul Heyman.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna bring out my beast, and I'm gonna add him to Roman's team for one night only.
That'd be crazy.
And now, what is that new bloodline going to do? You know what I mean? Like, bring in. I think they said it was either was it Tama Tonga or Tonga Loa's brother. Has recently signed. We could get a Zillafat too, but I feel like that could be the place to kind of reintroduce him because he has such a history with Paul, it fits. I mean, the same with Sammy. It's like, okay, he was a member of the bloodline. He's not Samoan. But, hey, for Paul Heyman or by a Paul Heyman, I think this works. That's just me.
Who's gonna take down the Samoan werewolf, which is a cool nickname, by the way, for Jacob Fatu? You bring in the beast incarnate, right? And what if that could possibly... That's
a great little WrestleMania program.
I'm saying, I'm like, is it too early? Could we see a Jacob Fatu versus a Brock Lesnar to kind of put over a Jacob Fatu even more?
Dude, I want to see Jacob Fatu in a singles run at this point. Like, I would love to see him versus a Braun Breaker or a Brock Lesnar. I could see him doing great things with somebody like Randy Orton.
Yeah,
I think it's time for him to just like kind of, as great as they're doing with this storyline. I feel like what they did back in the day with the old bloodline, they all kind of had their own separate rivalries.
Yeah.
Like you had Solo with John Cena, you had Cody with Roman, and you had, the Usos going against Owens and Zayn, and they all had like a direction. I feel like the new bloodline doesn't really have enough programs. They had multiple programs with one group, and now I just feel like it's just one group against one person at this point.
Yep. And it's going to be interesting because, like I said, even for a few months, we get this bloodline storyline back in the thing where now it's the new bloodline versus the old bloodline. Now, after you do that, what do you do? Because at one point, I feel like they're going to kind of have to separate a lot of these guys. Kind of just because then it's going to get too stale. Then we got to actually give them feuds with other people throughout, which is fine. And I think there's enough room to go around for everybody to putting them in whatever shows, but
it's like an NWO black and white and an NWO black and red. Like it's really, I get what you're saying.
It's like, okay, this is, is it the culmination of all of the Samoans at this War Games kind of a thing, and then they kind of get their own matches going forward from here. But
the final chapter type of thing.
Yeah,
I think this has to end at Mania.
Yeah, for sure, and then just move on with it. But I mean, there's so much. It's amazing how this storyline is pretty much stayed relevant for everything.
Well, like I said earlier. For Paul Heyman, by Paul Heyman. What if we get another Paul Heyman guy as a fifth guy, like a CM Punk?
Yeah.
Why not?
Like, I know, right?
Just throw in some against the wall to see what sticks. I like this. This could go anywhere, and with all the speculation going on, let's just keep this going, dude. Like I'm enjoying wrestling again. Well, I'm enjoying WWE wrestling again.
For sure, man. Unfortunately, though, on Raw this week, or during Monday, pretty much, we found out that Samantha Irvin is gone. And now this, this girl, amazing voice. I loved what she was doing. I'm not like I'm a fan of her that I'm like stalking her on social media, but I'm like, I loved hearing what she did, right? She was good for what she did. To hear that she left abruptly, it started bringing in questions like, her fiance Ricochet just left for AEW. Or is she going to do the whole Renee thing that she did with Moxley to where she left for him to go to AEW? And I'm like, I hope she doesn't do that. And then, we heard from others online saying that, no, they're not going to AEW. I think Dave Meltzer said it. Like, I don't want to bring him up.
With his 3% stake in the company, allegedly.
So they're saying nothing like that. She wants to focus on music, but it's happened so fast. I'm like, I really wish, because like she has a following. Like fans love her. I'll read some comments in a little bit from the Marks group. But what do you think about this? I mean, is it a big deal? Or
was it one of the reports saying that she wanted to do music because she is a singer?
Yeah, so she plays a flute too. So she played at Wallamania at WrestleMania.
Oh, Wallamania, yes.
So she played her flute. Don't pause me. I don't know if that's her. She has a flute. She does it like, I don't know what, contemporary R&B. I don't know what she plays, but she plays a flute. But she sings too.
The other thing about that, honestly, like Lillian Garcia had a singing career at the same time while she was announcing for WWE. So like, I don't see why that's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So maybe have side projects. I mean, it's not like she's a member of the roster. You know what I mean? Who's going to be out for like, 8 months because they're shooting a movie or some shit. like that. Like it's such weird
And
timing
she's only
and very random.
And she's not even a superstar to where she's not wrestling every week. She just literally has to announce certain matches or every match, whatever they want, right?
Dude,
so
she was huge on social media, though. I used to love those Samantha Irvin reaction videos.
Yeah.
They would just put up a phone and they would just record her reactions to the big surprises that were coming out.
Yeah.
And like, you just love it because she looked like one of the fans on television, and it just got over really great with me, dude. I thought that hilarious because her reactions were just natural and they were great, dude.
No, and we said, so like, we don't know the full story, but it's basically she left for whatever reason, right? And it made me think to where, you said Lillian Garcia also sang and had a music career. Mm-hmm. If you go back a few years ago, remember at one point the wrestlers were on Twitch and playing video games or whatever. Like, I don't know if it was up, down, down. I was on that too.
Yeah.
And then they said they couldn't do it anymore because whatever money they were making on that WWE wasn't getting, so they shut it down. And then at one point, I think in 2022 or whatever, WWE had their own streaming thing on Twitch, and so then they let the superstars go back and do it. And I think like a certain percentage maybe has to go to WWE because it's under their name or something.
I always thought that was weird because you remember it was a similar thing with Zack Ryder when he had that little show that he used to do on. Yeah, that was cool. And then WWE took that over too, and it was just like took the steam out of him. I don't know.
You gotta let these guys do other little things besides that. I understand that they shouldn't wrestle for another promotion, but if it's like they're playing video games for Twitch, I'm like, come on. Like, this is what they do on the road, and for them to let her go, knowing that a lot of the fans love her, for that she wants to sing or something on the side, I think it's a big deal because it seems abrupt. I feel like she could have did Raw and said goodbye and then bowed out. she did it Raw or did Raw. So, I don't know. It seems strange all day. So a lot of people were talking about it.
Where does she rank for you in terms of favorite WWE announcers?
Oh, Fink's always number one.
Of course.
Fink's number one.
When people forget to mention Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
Is it Ray Finkel?
Ray Finkel, that's Ace Ventura.
It's Ace Ventura. Howard Finkel. Wow, am I a idiot? Look at me, Sal.
Oh my gosh.
Too much tequila.
Finkel and Einhorn. Finkel and Einhorn. Finkel, Einhorn.
Alrighty then.
It's like the voice of God in our ears. That was great. No, I don't know. Fink's always number one for me. I like the excitement she brought to it because Justin Roberts went to AEW. I think WWE let him go.
Either, yeah.
And I didn't really. There's not too many voices that I liked announcing. I don't hate Lillian Garcia. I think she's probably a little bit older now that she's doing it. I mean, she did it for a long time too. Yeah. Like over.
For me,
over how many years? 20 years? I don't know. A long time.
I liked her. She's not on the level of Lillian Garcia yet. She had the potential to be.
Yeah.
Because Lillian, to me, she has that one great moment. Probably one of the greatest television moments ever when she sang the national anthem right after 9/11 when SmackDown went live. They were the first television show live that was aired, like sporting event. And like, dude, just the goosebumps. So you go on YouTube and watch that, and she doesn't have that kind of moment. She's great at what she does, but she just didn't have like that moment where I could say she's above Lillian.
So she's 58 years old. I did not know that. Yeah. That's a lot older than I thought she was.
You got to remember. Like,
so I was looking at her career. She did 99 to 2009.
Yep.
And then came back in 2011 and did 2011 to 2019. Mm-hmm. And now, 2024 till right now, like just yesterday.
I used to see her a lot of times. She would always sing the national anthem at the Jets games.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It just seemed abrupt. People were saying a lot of things. Let's bring up what some of the comments were saying on there because a lot of people were mad on social media. A lot of people upset, blaming Ricochet too, and a lot of other things. But some of our marks.
I wonder what my mom thinks about this. You followed Ricochet to AEW, you stupid bitch.
That's it. We got to bring the angry moms in for her opinion on this. So go into the Marks group. It's facebook.com/another wrestling group. If you're out there watching, check us out. So some of our Marks for life out there had some questions. I said, how torn are you, Marks, about Samantha leaving? Could she be AEW bound? What do you think? Miguel Orlando says, I think she's a great announcer. If AEW gets her, she'll draw more than some of the ring talent. Mike Shapiro chimed in and said, true, 2 people is still more than 0. I don't know.
Yeah, and they would have to make sure they would have to put her on the opposite side of the camera.
Yeah.
Because, that other side's going to be empty.
Nope, sure. Nope. Marty Puppo, he said the best news I saw today. So I guess he's not a fan of her. I don't know. I guess it's the best news because she's not.
Is it because he's not a fan of her, or maybe he's hoping that she goes elsewhere?
I don't know. He doesn't say that. But we have, who do we get? This Mike Camisso. Mike Camisso says, "Don't let the door hit you." He says, "What worse is Alicia Taylor doing everything she does now? She's got a fan base, man, and." Maybe she was just done with wrestling. It is a grueling time. Like, you got to go on the road every week, travel how many dates. Granted, she's not wrestling, so she's not doing house shows. She's just doing, like, the live shows. But it's still 365, right? You're still going all year round, traveling all over the world, announcing. So
I'll put it to you this way. Honestly, I think Ricochet maybe does play a small part in it. Not that she's going to follow him over there, but she's traveling more often probably than he is.
Yeah.
They're engaged now. You're probably not seeing him as often as you'd like to, especially if you're planning a wedding or whatever. Like, people have lives outside of their jobs.
Yeah.
Like,
we have lives outside of this, right? Or are we stuck here forever? But no, man, this is great. I think for Lillian Garcia to come back and step up for Samantha Irvin, that's great. Kind of have a familiar face. Maybe she won't do it for that long. But I'll tell you what, her first announcement, she botched.
Following is the first round match in the World Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders Tournament.
Well, on that note, Credo, it was good seeing you this week. Let's get out of here because I want to see how bad the Knicks got their ass kicked.
Next week's Halloween. Get your costumes ready.
We're using costumes?
We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Okay.